Hi, and welcome back to Arguably Speaking.
I'm Kiera,
I'm Sarah.
and welcome to the new year.
We made it, you guys, 2024. Some of us are in better shape than others.
Well, Sarah is just being a pillar of health right now.
I am just the epitome of
Epitome.
I am the epitome of health. But no matter, you can still understand me even if I sound a little nasally.
Nah, you sound great. You sound
Thank
wonderful.
you. I feel beautiful right
We
now.
Are you fishing for compliments?
No.
No.
Kidding. It
You
was a little
sound great.
disappointing.
You look great. You are drinking tea.
I am doing that. You sound and look amazing as well, Kira. I will say that, when you don't feel well or don't look your best, or for the girlies who wear makeup every day, like you don't put on makeup, and then you're like, it's fine, no one is really gonna notice. And then the first thing anyone says to you is like, wow, you sound super sick.
Yeah. Or wow, you look really tired.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That was my morning, talking to you and then talking to Matthew. He was like, "Wow, are you okay?"
Yeah.
Like,
Well, to be
thanks.
fair, you definitely told me yesterday. You're like, I'm feeling slightly unwell.
Yeah, yeah,
And we were just hoping that it would go away overnight.
yeah.
But
But hey, I will probably be fine. My brother had some sort of nasal bug when I was at home, so I probably just got it from him, and he was done with it in like 4 days.
yeah.
So
And this is already day 2, so after today you're on the downhill slide.
honestly,
Easy
it's
peasy.
so right. It's so true. And I've been drinking that water. But anyways, enough about me being sick. Today we're going to talk about something else. Something
Yes.
that, arguably speaking, is one of the pillars of our friendship.
Yes.
Not to say that our friendship is too much based on capitalism,
But somewhat. We
but
have
somewhat.
views on money.
Yes, yes, that is one thing that has, kind of tied Kira and I together
Yes.
throughout the ages, is that, if we can find a deal, we're gonna use it.
We are gonna use it.
So
But
yeah.
before we jump into that, do we want
Mm.
to do a little small recap of
Mm.
like our New Year's and stuff?
True.
Because last time you heard from us, we were at home in Colorado and we were talking to our parents, which was so lovely.
Love.
We had some, new babies in the family. So we each got to, have our kid time and realize that we don't want kids for a little while longer.
Yeah.
Um,
But wow, so cute.
Very cute.
Squishable.
Got to make lots of food, eat lots of food, be with family, and be with friends.
Yeah.
Sarah and I even got to hang out more than once.
It was lovely. It was completely lovely. We worked in the studio, which my mom mentioned, with the brand new heat stove that my dad mentioned, which is pretty exciting. So, yeah.
It was awesome.
Had some good
And
time.
now we have new bisqueware that we can put some glaze on and we can have fired. We
Super fun.
already have 3 gorgeous soup mugs. And now we've got some trinkets, some more mugs, some planters, spoon holder.
So exciting.
Yeah.
So exciting.
And we also were able to come back to Seattle together to spend New Year's for the first time. I mean, I think we spent New Year's together before in Colorado, but it's
Yes.
been chill. Like one year we did gingerbread houses.
Yeah, that was fun. That was
Yeah.
the first years I actually stayed up until midnight.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had never done it as a kid.
I always stay up till midnight. What my family used to do, our like tradition was to play Risk. And like the older version of Risk, not quite where you had wooden pieces, but it was like, you didn't have little people or anything, and
Gotcha.
you're not going to the moon, you're not conquering the
Nice.
sea, you just have your countries, and it's like somewhat of an outdated map and stuff.
Oh,
But that's how we would all stay up till midnight because it's a very, very long game.
that makes sense.
Um, yeah, and wow, I just spilled some hot water on myself.
Nice.
Um, yeah, but when we came to Seattle, we went out, played some fun games with our friends,
Yeah.
and then we were out to the bars for New Year's, but also felt like, wow, there's so many people in Seattle,
Yeah,
and
there
they're
were
all trying to go to the same place.
like so many people. There was one line that had I don't know, maybe like 30 or 40 people in the line, and we passed by the door, and I looked at the sign on the door, and it said that the cover was $50.
Yeah, which is so expensive.
Like at that point, are you giving me a little headband and giving me free champagne?
Yeah,
I
I mean,
just,
maybe.
maybe? I don't know. I was shocked. But we found a place. It had a decent number of people. The upstairs was pretty empty.
Relatively empty, like still
Yeah.
like there were definitely people
Yeah.
around.
Yeah. I don't know. It was, yeah, but it was like overlooking a different place that was ticketed
Yeah,
or
and it had like
something.
a DJ, and they at midnight they had this big balloon drop,
Yeah.
and it was look down and see people like moving together.
Yeah,
They look
yeah.
like little sardines in a pan.
It's like I'm watching you, and this feels weird because you have no idea I'm up here.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was fun. I liked the atmosphere. I was glad that we were able to, have our glasses of champagne in our hands when the clock struck. Sadly, Kira did not, and I also did not get a smooch. But Kira obviously was slightly more likely because she has a thing.
I have a thing. Yeah, yeah. No, my partner was not able to come. They got food poisoning, so
Bummer.
unfortunate evening.
Yeah.
But it was really nice to go out for the first time for me on New Year's.
Yeah.
Um,
I went out last year for New Year's, but we went out early and came back early. So we went out at like 9:30 maybe and like sat down, had a drink, and then went to like a dance place around like 10:30 and stayed there until 11 and then left and went and did midnight at our house. So,
nice.
yeah, I've
Yeah,
enjoyed both experiences,
yeah.
I will say.
Willing to try other things in different
Yeah,
New
true.
Year's future. But now we're here in 2024
Woot.
and we are ready to talk all about money because that feels like a
Yay.
great first to the year kind of thing.
Kira and I were really like kind of grasping at straws a little bit. Our earlier ideas for this episode were opening jars of pickles. Great idea on my part.
And Kira's
Rejected.
good at it.
Kira, arguably better than Sarah is.
She doubted me.
I did. Well, okay, it's a glass jar of pickles, and she was hitting it on the counter, and I was like, "Don't do that. That never works."
And then it immediately worked. It was like butter. It was so easy to open.
I
Um,
just got nervous because I was like, "This is a glass jar."
yeah, but other topic ideas were taxes.
Because
Um,
that's just on my mind. I don't know.
and Sarah's most recent scientific literature papers that she's been reading.
Yay. It would have been really fun. I know that all of my listeners want to hear about the label, the identity, and the ideals of a feminist in 2008. Okay? You guys are interested? I see you. We can talk about it later on the Patreon account that we don't have.
Or DM us, slide into those DMs on the Instagram. Sarah will write back.
I will. I'll let you know how's it hanging.
Yeah, today we're talking all about money and like not just like, oh yeah, these are smart financial decisions because we're not very
Certificate
good
of
at this.
deposit. Write it down.
We're talking more about like the weird, strange things we've done to save money. Um, crazy things that were lucrative and got us money.
Yeah,
And how much money it would take to get us to do certain things.
totally.
Yeah.
I love it.
So a little bit of a fun episode. We've got a couple different prompts, and we'll just answer them back and forth. Because I think we each have about 5. We will start out with a kind of an easy one. But what is the silliest thing you've ever done to save a minuscule amount of money? So, like, for me, it's like, looking at the price per ounce on the little sticker thing.
Nice.
And then seeing, like, do I want generic brand or, like, name brand or what's going to do, stuff like that, where, like, you're putting in all of this extra work,
Yeah.
but you're really only saving, like, 10 cents or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
something
that.
like that.
I love that. I think it's one of those things where it's like calculating out at what point do I start saving money on a coupon. If that makes sense. Where it's like, okay, if I get 2 pizzas, it's cheaper the pizza per money. And then I've done the thing where like I'll get 2 pizzas for a deal and I won't share it with a friend because like, oh, freeloaders, and I'll
Yeah.
like, save the pizza and I'll eat it for breakfast. Or I'll like freeze a bit of that pizza and then it'll be like, pizza for me later in the morning.
Yeah.
So,
No, I think this definitely like relates to girl math like a lot.
yes.
Cause I'm like, well, if I go out to eat and dinner costs like 25 or $30, that feels expensive. But if I have leftovers
Hmm.
and I get to eat it for another meal, that means it was only $15 per meal, which
Nice.
feels even better. And if
Nice.
I can extend it to a third meal,
Amazing.
$10 a meal.
Perfect.
So really, I can eat
I
this and it'll be fine.
love it.
Yeah.
That's funny. Or like, I guess this isn't saving money, but it feels like it's saving money. It's like,
Hmm.
okay, if I get like a flavored lemonade that has refills,
Mm.
how many do I need to drink for it to really feel like it's not that expensive?
Yeah,
You know?
totally.
So it's like, the famous twisted spotted lemonade or whatever the heck it's called at Red Robin. It's like, I gotta drink like 5 of these. And like, at that point, you're like not even really enjoying the fourth and the fifth one, but you're like, okay, we can do this.
Yeah,
So,
totally.
yeah,
I
kind of silly.
I feel that on a very, very deep level whenever you go to like a all you can eat buffet or something like that or
Yeah, totally.
yeah. One thing that I do is when you're driving your car and you're like, wow, I need to get gas, you're always looking for the cheapest gas station, right?
Mhm.
And so I felt like I was always like a stickler to be like, I need to go to the cheapest gas station if it is like well, it's really expensive in Seattle, so I'm going to try to use Colorado prices.
Amazing.
But no, I can use Seattle prices
Okay.
because Seattle just feels, it feels
Ridiculous.
more
Yeah.
ridiculous. But if we have a gas station pretty close to our house, and it's usually a little bit more expensive because
Yeah.
it's closer to like houses and neighborhoods and like the
Mhm.
school. So if gas is like $5 here, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so expensive.
Way too much.
If I go, 20 minutes north, it'll be 30 cents cheaper. Like I
Nice.
could go to the Costco or something, and then it'll be $4.70. And
Yeah.
that feels like a huge savings. But like if your average, tank of gas is 20 gallons,
Yeah.
you
You
that's a
really
lot. Like
like
12
think,
gallons is
yeah,
fine. 30 cents times 12,
not
that's
that much
$3.60
money.
that
Not that
you're
much money.
saving to
And
go.
you're spending 40 minutes to get there and back.
Yeah. So like I do that more often than I should. And I'm like, but I'm saving money. Like it feels like I'm saving so much money, especially if there's a switch from like 5 to 4,
Yeah.
like 4 to 3 or something when you're like on the high end of 3 or the low end of
Totally.
4.
Totally.
Yeah.
I will say
Anyways, that's my spiel.
one thing that I've started doing more often, like just specifically this break, my parents and I, we were like, let's eat lunch out. And it was like, like we have this baby with us, we can't do like a long meal out. But then it also saved us money, is that we went to like a coffee place and we all got drinks and then we just brought lunch with us.
So it
And
felt like you were eating it.
exactly. So like we had this nice little like cheese and meat thing going on because we got sent one of those baskets with like the hard salamis and stuff. But then also, we were still patronizing the restaurant. Like we all still got a coffee. But it was cheap. And I did the same thing flying back because I had like a pretty long layover in Oakland. And I was like, I don't really want to buy lunch here because I have these carrots and I have like, cookies and a granola bar.
All
But
these little
like,
snack
I want
things.
more than that. And so I went into the restaurant and I just got fries and two things of ranch
Hmm.
and like a lemonade. And then I was able to like sit and enjoy my time in the restaurant. And then I also had ranch for my carrots. But I wasn't paying for an entire meal. I wasn't paying the price of a sandwich.
Yeah. No, I mean that
So
really leads me to my next question,
okay.
which is what are your best tips for saving money on food?
Mm,
And so one, like connecting to that is like when you get something cheaper but you're bringing food,
yeah.
I have two little things.
Okay.
You should always, if you don't want to spend money at the airport, you can just bring your food through security and eat it there.
Yeah.
And that I have done so much recently because we've had to fly
I
for,
love it.
family and holidays and stuff.
Yeah.
You can always bring your food, even if you're flying like Frontier or something that has like no baggage at all. You can just throw that away, all of your trash before you get on the plane.
Totally. I will say that it's a good practice to take that food and put it on top of the thing that goes through the scanner because I did that with
Mm.
my Christmas cookies and the woman in front of me got stopped because of her Christmas cookies and she had to like take them out of her bag and open up a tin. And I was like,
That's
you can
annoying.
just see exactly what's going on here. So they didn't stop me.
I've just
So
never had an issue. One time, someone stopped me because I had like a ridiculous amount of brownies with me, which I think can have a
they're
certain
like,
connotation. They were just regular brownies, but I had like 40.
oh my God. Oh, were you,
It was from
were you
my
bringing them to someone?
it was from my great grandma's 100th birthday.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm not gonna let all of these brownies go to waste.
I gotta love that.
I will bring
That's so
something
funny.
from Texas.
Yeah.
But also I am not a big like drink kind of person.
Yeah, that's true.
So especially when I'm alcoholic or non-alcoholic, when I go out to like eat,
Mm.
I usually get water
Yeah.
because it doesn't for me impact my meal or like my enjoyment of the time to have like a fancy drink or not.
Yeah.
Most of the times I actually get too full drinking the fancy drink before I get my actual food
That's
and
so
then I'm
funny.
sad
Yeah.
because
And
I'm not
honestly,
great.
it's restaurants make their money.
Yeah,
You know that.
because drinks are dirt cheap.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
then they're selling it for like what, $3?
Yeah.
$5? Ridiculous stuff.
And then I'm usually only an appetizer or dessert person if it's like a very special occasion.
Yeah.
I usually just get my main
I
course.
feel similarly. I will say, in terms of saving money at restaurants and things, get the nachos.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Nachos are
Like,
great.
they always taste good. It's always so much food.
Hmm.
Because, like, I don't know, my dad does this all the time, is where he gets the nachos from the appetizer menu as his main meal. And then we all get something that's, like, maybe not super big. And so he eats, maybe half of the nachos, but still, like, it's always so much nacho. And then we
Yeah.
just supplement ourselves with the other half of his nacho.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
It's a great
then
deal.
also, we've already talked about this before, so we won't go too in depth, but Sarah and I love splitting things.
It's true.
I feel like we always know that the food portions are gonna be enough for both of us if we're splitting for the
Yeah.
most part. I mean, there's been very few times where we got something and we're like, darn, this is
We
not enough
need
for two
more.
people.
Yeah.
I think especially if you're going into it with that mindset,
Yeah.
splitting it immediately cuts it to a
Totally.
50% discount.
Amazing, honestly. Well, and at that point, it's like if you're splitting something to begin with, you definitely have money to also split dessert,
Exactly.
which is such a win. Because then you're like, wow, 2 courses? I'm so full. And also, I got to eat dessert.
Yeah.
Yay.
And it's even if you get dessert, usually it's like still
Cheaper.
75% of like just getting a full meal.
Yeah, totally. So true.
Hmm.
So
And
true.
then everything is great. Everything is
Yay.
great. That's all we have to say.
So good.
Save your money on food. Food is super expensive.
Yeah.
If you can, clip your coupons at the grocery
Honestly.
store.
Yeah.
You'd be shocked at how many like online and paper deals there are. I do that when I can.
One time, Kiera and I were at a restaurant, not a restaurant, we were at a supermarket. And when I tell you this was the achievement of my month, it was such a happy time. I think this was October, it might have been November, it doesn't really matter. I got such a good deal on soups
Oh my God.
because there were
Yes.
2 coupons. And I got like, I don't know, 15 cans.
Something like 10 or 15.
It was crazy because there was like a limit as to how many cans you could get, and so I got however many that limit was, and then I also had my friend buy soup for me, which was just so perfect. But yeah, it like originally the cans of soup were something like $2.50 each, and with my double coupon, I got it down to like 97 cents,
Yeah.
which was just so good.
These were like the better cans of soup.
Yeah.
You know, they're not just
not
like
the
your
condensed
concentrate.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which one
Which
of
are
our
still great.
roommates did not know that condensed soup existed. It's so funny.
Another one of our friends didn't know how to say chamomile, like chamomile tea. What did they say? They said chamoli.
Chamoli? Can I have some of this chamoli?
And
It
so,
was so funny.
Sarah and I aren't experts on food, but
Um, but
we know
know
things.
some people do.
Um, for sure.
Yeah. Also, Kira hasn't mentioned it yet, but Kira has the best food tip that I've seen in terms of saving money for a
Yes.
special little restaurant called Qdoba.
Yes. Okay. So, how Qdoba works, we already talked about nachos, right?
Right.
We know that nachos are the great saving meal
Amazing.
that just you will always be happy with it and always be satisfied with the amount of food you have. Qdoba, in my opinion, has the superior queso, especially compared to Chipotle.
Okay.
So that's why I prefer Qdoba. The rest of the stuff is fairly similar.
Yeah.
But if you are going to get the nachos, it's three cheese nachos, but then you can also add meat to it. If I'm not that hungry, I always get the kids' meal. And if you can do that, then you get the chips on the side. You can do this with both the kids' meal and both the regular size nachos. But if you ask for the chips on the side, they put so much more food in the bowl, and then you just scoop with your chips. Plus, your chips don't get soggy, and it's just such a deal. If you get the kids' meal, I think you get like the small little bowl plus like a cookie and a drink. Or maybe it's just chips on the side. I don't know. But the kids deal is really, really where it's at.
Amazing.
And then the adult meal, you can definitely have at least 2 meals from it because
Yeah.
there's so much queso and chicken and everything. Whatever meat you want, and
Love it.
rice and beans and cheese and blah, 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 blah. Blah,
Love
blah, 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 blah.
blah 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 blah.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
And if you get the rewards app on Qdoba, you can. Okay, I'm done. I'm done.
I love it.
That's my soapbox.
I will say, speaking of rewards apps things, another way to save money is to sucker your friends into going to your favorite places and getting a punch card.
Oh,
Right?
yes.
So like one of the places that I really loved was a Vietnamese place that I lived, I don't know, like a 10-minute walk away from my house in college. And so I'd always invite friends to go there, and no one would really go there on their own unless I had asked them. So I was the only one who had a punch card, which is perfect. And they had the whole thing where it was like, I think it was only 8 punches too, which is like really a deal.
Yeah.
And then you could get the largest thing, and you could use it on a sandwich or on a bubble tea.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And that's the thing. You just try to not let the rewards go to waste because
Yeah.
they are actually kind of good.
No, it was awesome. Well, and also that was my first date place for a while. And so if I'm getting tea in a sandwich and then they're getting tea in a sandwich, that's 4 punches
Wow.
in one date.
And so you're already just halfway there.
Literally. It was so good. I can't even tell you.
I used to do that for this ice cream place in Tucson. It was wonderful.
Love a punch card moment.
And so I had all my friends come like, okay, well, here's 5 punches. Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So
Love it.
that's some tips for you.
Yeah.
Maybe they're obvious, but we use them all the time.
That actually reminds me, because this doesn't really go with any of our questions, I don't think. But I really, for a long time, had it in my mind that I could make really good money by selling my plasma.
Oh my gosh, I've had this exact.
Okay.
I've had this
'Cause
exact
they always have these like really good promotionals, like if you start giving now and then you give 4 times this month, or like 4 times in the next 2 months, you'll get like $500.
Exactly.
I'm like,
a
$500
sign-on bonus, basically.
Wow, that's a lot of money. And part of the reason that I came up with the podcast name idea, Tiny Veins, Big Brains, was because I tried so hard to donate plasma, you guys. Like, I would go in, they'd check my veins, they'd be like, go home, lift some soup cans once a day for 2 weeks, and then come back, because then maybe your veins will get bigger. And then I would do that, and I'd be like, I'm so strong now. And they'd be like, it's so funny because remember when we said that they would get bigger? It doesn't look like they did. So you can like go home and come back in another 28 days, and then I just wouldn't go.
Yeah, because that's so long.
Right? But I did that like once a year for 3 years, and I like finally started lifting last year around this time. So I went back last summer. 2 summers ago? I can't really remember. Let's be honest.
A while ago.
I did actually start lifting weights, not just for plasma, not just soup cans, because I wanted to look strong. And I was like, hey, wait a second. I feel like I've seen notable difference in my muscle amount. I probably have bigger veins. And I went in and they were able to suck out like a third of what they usually do. And they were like, okay, we're really afraid that your vein's gonna like collapse or whatever. So we're just gonna like, do the enough that it like does the testing and then like put it back in. And when they were trying to return the blood to my arm, I don't know. It looked really weird, and I was afraid that the needle had like moved or something because I had like this weird, not to get graphic, but I had like a pillow of like the blood
Yeah.
coming out of the needle on my arm, and it was like a decent sized marble. Like,
Oh
you
no.
know the size of like a normal die, like a dice
Yeah.
like die? That was like the pillow of blood on my arm, like
That's so
under my skin.
scary. Oh
And
my
I was like,
God.
I need this to be taken out now. And they were like, but if you have it taken out, then you can't come back. And I was like, that's fine.
Ever?
I couldn't come back for another 6 months because of the amount of blood that had been taken out of me. Like they wouldn't want to like take it out and put it back in again
Okay.
later. So I got $40 for that traumatizing experience and I never went back.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah.
The thing is, I've looked up that a bunch of times because I've considered it, especially if you're like moving locations, then you can kind of like start again. I feel like and have
Yeah.
that original sign-on bonus
Yeah.
thing. But yeah, that's just horrible.
It was one of those things where I had been to a plasma donation place in Colorado a couple times and they'd just been like, no, your veins are too small, too small. But that was always nice because it was an appointment place. So I didn't have to sit there for a really long time.
Okay.
At the place that I went to in Lincoln that actually was able to get in there, kind of, I had to go at a time that was like odd so that there weren't a bunch of other people already waiting there. But then also a couple of the times I went, like there just wasn't anyone there who was able to admit a new donor. And so I
Mm.
drove to this place, arguably not that far. It was like 5 minutes away from my house.
Okay, okay.
But I drove to this place like 5 times before I got that $40.
Wow, was it worth it?
No. It was so unbelievably not worth it. Like, guys,
Oh.
just don't think that you're gonna make it big on plasma. It's not gonna happen.
It might if you had normal sized veins.
It might. I genuinely think one of my cousins, like, that's how she paid for rent in her undergrad.
Yeah, exactly. It is strangely lucrative.
Yeah.
And I am still down to do it, but now I'm like there's more hoops to jump through than you think there are.
Yeah.
Same thing with like if you've ever seen the Sex Life of College Girls, like donating your eggs,
Yeah.
probably also not.
We do not sponsor selling your body. Any part of it. Anyways, what was I going to say? Shoot. You also can't do it if you've had a tattoo. And I was always like, I'm not getting a tattoo because I want to be able to donate plasma. But really, I didn't want to get a tattoo because they're expensive.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, there are multiple things, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So my little thing is a question of how much money would you need to save or how much money would you need to like receive for you to do a certain thing. And then I have like a list of 5 so we can bop back and forth. But the first one is how much money would you need to save to have a 5-hour layover in like a really boring airport? Like I don't know, like a tiny little, like there might be 2 restaurants and one of them's a McDonald's, like itty bitty airport. You're there for 5 hours.
Do I have like a carry-on
You have a carry-on.
that
I
like
will
would have stuff in it?
I will let you have like a phone and a laptop.
Okay.
Yeah. But 5 hours is like,
You know, a good chunk of your day.
yeah. And if I guess is this during the day? Is this at night?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
don't know.
during the night, like a lot more money.
Yeah.
Because, like, having to wait, think if it was like from 2 to like 7 a.m., like that nothing time.
Yeah.
That's when the airports are like most dead.
Yeah.
I almost would never do that, or it'd have to be like $200 or something.
Okay.
For that late at night.
Yeah.
But for the day, probably like $50.
Nice.
Like $10 an hour.
And there you're like, I'm making money.
Because,
That's so
I've
funny.
definitely worked at airports before.
Yeah.
I've brought my laptop and done some work, or like, sometimes it's out of necessity and like you just have to sit there and
Yeah.
wait.
True.
Because there's simply no other flights available. But yeah, definitely not that much during the day. Definitely a lot during the night.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, there would have to be like very little option.
Yeah. I think I would definitely say higher than you.
Yeah.
Just because like I don't know, when I'm going to a place, I just want to get there.
Mm-hmm.
So I have been known to spend, an extra couple of dollars to have the direct flight.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously prefer direct flights,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
I think I'd need to save $100.
Okay.
I think so. I think 70 I'd start looking at it and I'd be
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, like when does my plan start that I need to get to my destination, etc., etc. I think
Yeah.
70 I'd be like, but I think I'd still pay it until 100, you
Wow.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I've just also maybe been spoiled with like having pretty short layovers when I do. So I'm not even sure if I've ever had a layover that's been that long. I've had a
Yeah.
4 hour layover before, but 4 hours for some reason seems like a lot shorter to me than five. Five is kind of that
The
breaking point of where
relativity,
it's
yeah.
like, whoa, we're here forever.
That's why I wrote it down because I was
Yeah.
like, what's an amount of time that is significant and feels gross?
Yeah.
So, but not
Yeah.
like completely unrealistic to happen. So, there you
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to
That's how I
do
feel.
another one?
Yeah, do one more. I like
Okay.
those.
How much money would you need to save to move to a state that you don't want to live in? And we can think about this in terms of like rent. We can think about this in terms of like cost of living in general. I don't know. What would be the
Yeah.
easiest to consider?
Okay, because when I think of like a state I don't want to live in, it's like a state where I have no friends. It's a state that like has a weird climate or like,
Yeah.
maybe people are not like minded like me or
Yeah.
something. And that's some personal preference, but the first place I think of is like Florida.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that would be that
It's so funny. The
horrible.
first place I think of is Tennessee because I just have like there are some accents that I do not enjoy hearing. And I feel really bad because I'm like, you just grew up speaking this way. And
Yeah.
I grew up speaking not the same way. And there's no reason for me to dislike talking with you, but I do.
Oh.
Sounds so terrible.
Confessions of a communications major.
Honestly, it's so funny. Where it's just one of those things where it's like, I know the reason that I don't like your accent is because I've just been like conditioned to think like certain things about the way you talk, but at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, I'm still sitting there like, oh my God, okay. Yes, I'm listening to you. Like my active listening skills go like down the drain just
Yeah.
so bad. So that would, but anyways, now that we've picked out states,
Yeah. Or like somewhere like Ohio? Like,
okay.
I don't actually know what's in Ohio.
There's a med school that my sister-in-law goes to. But
Yeah.
beyond that,
Or like Kansas?
yeah.
Or Oklahoma?
I feel like
Like,
you're getting too dangerously close to Nebraska.
well,
Hey now.
yeah, but
Just kidding.
like,
No, that's fair.
I don't know. I just don't actually. I think the states that I wouldn't want to move to are states that I just don't know anything about.
Yeah.
Or like Florida just has a lot of bad connotation with it because you have those like Florida man stories. Florida
Yeah.
man gets chased by 5 alligators, or
Yeah.
like,
Well, also
yeah.
just I struggle with anything that is too far south because I don't like heat.
Mm.
A
Mm.
lot. Like my grandfather really loved University of Arizona, really loved you because you went there. Really sad that none of us ever went there. Why
Yeah.
didn't you go to the same school as Kiera, sir? It's too hot. I don't think well when I'm in the heat like that. So,
Honestly, I mean, this kind of, I'm not trying to dismantle the question because I helped come up with that one for sure. But I feel like wherever cost of living is higher, for the most part, like minimum wage and like how much you're getting paid is higher.
yeah.
So it, for the most part, evens out.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't beat like $300 rent some places.
Yeah.
Um, but you're also making like a lot less money, I think.
Right.
You'd have to, I'd have to save a lot of money, or I'd have to be making a really, really great salary
Yeah.
to be forced to move somewhere. I think the bigger aspect is like socially. Like I don't want to go somewhere where I don't know anyone and in addition has like no natural like places I want to go to or like
Right.
sites I want to see
Yeah,
or things I want to explore.
that's fair.
So like I don't know, how long do I have to stay there?
A year.
A year? Oh,
Yeah.
well, makes it a little bit better. Like I think
Okay.
it'd be less money then.
Okay.
It'd be like honestly like to just do the initial move if it was indefinite, like $50,000 or something. Like
Nice.
I just don't want to move
Yeah.
away from my
No,
support
that's
system and
fair.
my friends.
That's super fair.
But
I
if it
think in a
was
lot of ways that is evidenced in the fact that like I moved up here even though it's costing me a lot more money to live up here because
yeah,
I want to be with a friend, you
exactly.
know?
And then like if it was only for a year, like maybe 10,000, 20, I don't know, $10,000. Like
Okay.
a
Okay.
year feels like there's a definite end. Like I can
Yeah.
see it.
I think honestly a year's like a year. Yeah. So
It
I
feels
think
not
it'd
so
have to be
big.
not a lot of money. I will say you were talking about like cost of living and minimum wage and stuff like that. I knew someone when I was living in Nebraska that worked remotely for California and so was
Mm,
getting paid California wages but living in Nebraska and like he had the nicest things
yeah.
and he was like I like it costs so little to live here and so little to like, meet basic needs that I do just have like money. And I
That's
was,
exciting.
wow. Like he drove me home from Frisbee all the time in his Tesla, and I was like, this
Okay.
is nice. Like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Um,
And like what you don't get, okay, not to go too much into the rabbit hole of money, but like taxes in different states really make a big difference. Like
yeah,
10% almost in Seattle.
yeah.
That
No,
really
that's
adds
so
on to
true.
your bill.
Well, in like some places it's different where like there are higher property taxes, but there's no food tax or something like
hmm
that,
There's
too.
no income tax here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I didn't really know that.
It's exciting. That's why so
Nifty.
many people live in Vancouver, Washington,
Mm.
because they can have, or no, Vancouver, Oregon? I don't know. There's one, it's Vancouver something. I can't remember if it's in Washington or Oregon, but they live there. Oregon has no property tax, and then they work in Washington,
Oh.
has no income tax.
Wow.
Yeah, it's one of those places.
That's wild. Cool though. Okay. Do you want to do one of yours next?
Yeah, yeah. I like the ones that you have though. They're kind of like they make me think a little bit on the spot. Maybe I'm doing and too much. So like,
Eh,
would I don't know.
I
I'm very money motivated, so maybe I would need something for like, an extra 1,000.
yeah, honestly, $1,000 a month? Like,
Not a month.
I wouldn't even
Oh,
have to work at that
I was
point.
thinking 10,000 for the year.
No. No, I know.
But yes. Okay. So my next question is, what is something that you made or did yourself to like make or save money? So instead of buying something or instead of enlisting the help of like a professional in the field to do something for you, what did you do instead or what did you make instead to make it work?
Nice. Okay. First thing I'm thinking of, we always have done our own yard work and our own like pruning, mowing, etc. And
Yeah.
that was one of those things where it was like, you know, we want to take down part of this tree. Why would we pay someone else like $5,000 to come over and cut off three branches when we have the saw, like my parents, obviously not me. We have the saws and things like that. And so I would always like help my parents take down like trees and limbs, etc., etc. And like there were a couple of these things where it's like we definitely should not have done that, where it's like this dead branch is like pretty far over our house, but it's fine because we can use some ropes in our truck to
We'll just
like
figure it out.
pull it away from the house and then chop it down and like it won't hit the house probably, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
do that sort of thing. I also just refuse to pay for someone to pick up my recycling if that's not already included as a service,
Wow.
I will just drive the recycling to the recycling center myself.
Wow, that's a big one. For a second, I was like, Sarah, so you're killing the planet. But
No,
yeah,
no,
that's
I'll
pretty
save
good.
it. I'll drive it to the recycling center myself. It kind of drove my roommates crazy a little bit, just because it was like,
You couldn't always get there. Like, was it regular?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Sometimes it took me a while before I got there, but I didn't. I never. I was like, why would I pay for someone else to do this thing when I can do it?
Yeah.
So yeah,
And do it well,
right.
you know?
Exactly, exactly. I
Um,
also make costumes. Never paid for a costume.
yeah, well, because you can sew as well.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
that helps.
I think that's the thing is I do make a lot of stuff. And recently I've had this big inspiration of like, I think I could make that of most things that are like kind of gifty things, especially with the holiday season. I'd be like, am I really gonna pay like, $50 for this bracelet or something?
No.
That's not gonna come in time. I guess I'll just go to Joann's and like buy some craft materials and make it myself. And you know what? It turned out really well.
Yeah, they were really cute.
But that's how I feel about a lot of things. I think where I start faltering is when it gets to like furniture or something.
Yeah.
But one thing that I did do. So, Matthew, if you're listening to this is my confession to you. And I, our roommate Matthew. And I'm sorry, but this was beneficial for me at the time. So, what I am very good at scouring Facebook Marketplace and buy nothing groups and things like that for furniture that we need, other items, household items, etc., etc. So, I was very much in need for a bed frame. I'm not sure if I've told my bed frame story, but that can be a different day.
Okay.
I think I have before. Anyways, so I ended up finding a queen size mattress or bed frame
Yeah.
on Buy Nothing. And I was like, this is great. I will pick it up. Picked it up,
Yeah.
realized it was a big bed frame. It was one of those IKEA like wooden ones. So it wasn't like a metal frame or anything like that, but it was kind of an effort to
Okay.
get out. Got it here, and then realized that I had a better option because I didn't have a mattress with it. One of my roommates was moving out, and she was like, I will sell you my bed frame and my mattress that I've only used for like 8 months. If you're willing to take it apart, disassemble it, and like get it out of my room.
Nice.
And I was like, that's great. $50 and I get a mattress.
Nice.
Ding, ding, ding. What should I do with this other mattress frame that I have? So I wrote in our group chat to Sarah and Bella and the rest of our roommates, and I was like, hey guys, I came across an extra mattress frame, bed frame. It's a queen size, and I'm selling it for like $50.
Oh
or
my
like
God.
my roommate is.
Oh my God.
And so I sold it to Matthew for $50, reimbursed myself, and essentially got a free bed frame and
Oh my God.
a
That's
mattress.
so funny. Wow. I was like, at the time, I was really confused as to why you had two bed frames. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I was just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you know what? Bed frames are really expensive, so
Yeah.
you still save money.
And
You're
Matthew
great.
paid a pretty penny for his bed. Just kidding. And you got it from Buy Nothing.
Yeah.
Wow. Nice.
But I didn't get the other one from Buy Nothing.
Wow.
So,
Nice.
yeah.
That's so funny. Wow.
We're
I
all
do think that he listens.
Yeah, I definitely think he listens. You'll
Yeah.
know. Come up and talk to me if you feel sad.
Hey, man.
I will not reimburse you, but I will give you a hug.
Aww. Cute.
We're doing something similar with a trash can right now.
This is love.
I bought this trash can off of Facebook Marketplace for $30, and then I was like, wow, it's kind of a small trash can. And then we went to the store and saw a brand new trash can that was significantly bigger and nicer, also for $30. So now I'm selling the one that I bought for more than $30. So
Everyone's interested.
because there's so much interest on it, and going to buy a newer, better trash can. Anyways,
Amazing.
I'm not saying to flip all of your stuff.
No.
You can't.
But
That's probably what I do.
here's the
for-
deal. Kiera bought it for $30, and then I'm buying it from her for $30, and then selling it
For
for
45.
$45. So really, it's fine because, it's really not fitting my needs, so I should sell it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
right.
We're not bad people.
No, we're just people. You know?
We're not good people.
We're just people.
But
Anyways,
so it goes, so it goes.
that's amazing.
At least it was internal. It wasn't to the mass public for the bed frame.
Right, right, right.
Um,
That's so
I
funny.
love buy nothing groups, and please
Yeah,
don't kick me out. Thank you.
that's a way to get stuff for shizzles. Okay, do we want to do another one or two of mine?
Yes, please.
Okay, I think I'll do two, and then you can do one more and I can do one more to
Yeah, and
finish
then
it
we
up.
can call it a day.
Perfect. Okay, how much money would you need to save to walk home from the bars? And we need to decide how far away the bars are.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
I would say it's like a 15-minute walk, but it's like freezing or darn near close.
Oh,
You
how
don't
much
have a
clothes?
jacket. You do not have a jacket. You have jeans and a going out top on.
How sober am I?
I would say not enough to drive, obviously,
Yeah.
but enough to like
Feel
feel
the cold.
safe.
Oh.
Like, oh yeah. Oh yeah. You would feel the cold. I would say you'd feel the cold um and you're like not sober enough to drive, but you're also sober enough that like being afraid is not an issue. It's mostly just the cold and the distance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Like how expensive would the ride have to be?
this is one of those things where I'm like, it's one of those hills that I'm willing to die on. And I'm like, I don't want to spend money on this. This is stupid.
Oh my God.
I'm so close. 15 minutes. What? Or
Here's like $2. I would save $2.
I think it would have to be like, the ride would have to be like $10 or less to get from point
Oh,
A
to
to point.
take the ride.
To take the ride,
Got it.
it would have to be like $10 or less, not including tip.
Okay.
So that's how it was for a lot of University of Arizona stuff. Granted, it was warmer in Arizona, but you get surge priced based on the time.
Oh.
So there's like, it can get really expensive if you're going at like 2 a.m. or something.
Dang, yeah.
And then just to go like, down the block is like $20.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is horrible.
Wow.
I could just, walk for 15 minutes and I'd be fine. And I'm really good at, crossing my little arms, putting my head down, powering through.
Okay, should I have made it longer? Should I have made the walk longer?
I mean,
What about half an hour?
Half an hour.
How much money would you have to save?
Am I alone?
You're with a friend, but it's not me. Let's
No,
let's
okay,
think of
that's
someone.
bad. Okay, no,
Just kidding.
like, how close am I to these people? One person, I guess.
You just worked on a group project with them and you know them kind of, but not a lot, but you have confirmed that you're both friends with each other. How is that for a good level?
That's okay. I have a good picture of a person in my mind now. Thank you. For 30 minutes. Honestly, it's just not that much money, Sarah. I feel like it'd need to be like $20 or less, but at least we'd be splitting it then.
Okay, yeah.
So that changes it
Per
up
person
too.
though, still, would you say still 10?
Per person, 15.
15. Oh,
Like it's not that much money. I really don't want to
it's
take.
like, I can walk, walking's free.
Yeah, I was like, I'm so willing to walk places.
God, I love that.
And I would do it in Tucson all the time, but Tucson's a little bit sketchier because it's a dark city, so you can see the stars still.
Oh.
So they have like less street lamps and dimmer street lamps, and like a lot of the storefronts and stuff have to have one way like dark contact paper on the
Yeah.
windows, so the
Interesting.
light isn't bleeding out and you have less light pollution. So it's pretty dark in Tucson.
Wow.
And I walked a lot.
Wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, cool though.
But anyways, what about you?
I would say for the 15-minute walk,
Yeah.
I feel relatively similar.
Yeah.
Cuz I think I could do anything for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I can be
It's
pretty
really not
chilly.
that far.
So I'd say probably like $10 or less. I would take the ride. Anything more, I would make the walk.
Yeah.
Half an hour when I am as we say, not sober, I have to pee like often.
Oh.
And I don't know, girl just doesn't have a strong bladder. I'm sorry. Like, we were laughing, and I was like, Kiera, I might have to go take a bathroom break right now. I've been drinking a lot of tea today because of my pillar of healthness. Um, but yeah, half an hour, I think I would pay significantly more money just because I wouldn't want to get stuck like 20 minutes in and like really need to pee.
Yeah.
Especially with the cold, you need to pee more when you're cold because your body's like, I don't want to keep this pee warm. That's why you always pee before you go to bed when you're camping.
Oh, interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
like, I just pee before bed so I don't have to, like, go out into the cold.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, but
But,
I was always told when I was a kid at summer camp, you pee before you're going to bed so that your body doesn't have to expel more energy keeping your urine warm.
okay, well, fact for the pod. Thanks, Sarah.
But you guys didn't think that we were going to talk about urine during this saving money episode. Yeah, I
Well,
think I would pay maybe $20 to not. Yeah, I would pay $20 or less to not have to walk an hour.
yeah.
If it was more than $20, I'd be like, okay,
Yeah, like,
we're bucking up and we're like jogging, you know? A
yeah.
soft jog. Okay, so I have another one before you start again, which is how much money would you need to get to shave your head?
Oh, a lot of money.
Yeah.
That is a very high. That's not happening. This girl is keeping her hair on her head. I used to have really long hair. For the longest time, I was just like, I don't want to like do any big cuts. I would trim it all the time. But it was like past my waist. Like it was definitely past my hips and was, you know,
Super
super,
long.
super long. And I've done some of those like little bald similar things and I just wouldn't look good. And my hair is a great blanket. It
There you
keeps me
go.
insulated. It's
Yeah.
just nice.
What if I gave you $1,000 right now to shave your head?
I probably wouldn't take it.
Wow.
Yeah,
What if I gave you like 5,000?
maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
I just am very attached.
Yeah.
It's attached to me. I'm attached to it.
There you go. I think I would take $1,000.
1,000?
I
You wouldn't do
yeah.
it for less. Would you do it for
I
100?
don't know. Well, would I do it for 100?
Yeah.
No.
Would you do it for 500?
I still think no.
Okay.
I think I don't know why the number seven is like. I'd consider it maybe. You
Like
know,
700.
but like $700, I'd consider it. Yeah. I don't
I'd
know.
probably consider it for like 3 grand.
Okay.
I'd consider it.
Okay.
You'd get, it's hard though. Like,
If I lived in a less expensive place, because $500 here in Seattle is
isn't
just
that much?
not that much.
Yeah.
You know?
It's true.
But like $500 right after I got back from spring break, my senior year of college in Nebraska.
A
Yeah.
lot. Yeah.
Like the only thing that would make me think about it would be like graduation photos,
Mm.
but like
No, I just like there's too much that I like having my hair for. Like
Yeah.
I like being able to look in the
For
mirror
looking
and be happy that I have like be happy that I am looking the same way that I've always looked.
yeah,
Um,
that makes sense.
I think for a lot of people they like to change up their hair by cutting it. And that is true for me to like a certain extent.
Yeah.
But more than anything, I like changing up my hair by like dyeing it.
Yeah.
And like I'll put fun colors in, and that's exciting, but I still like having the length because I like being able to, if I want to, do stuff with it.
Yeah.
Braid it, curl it, put it in an updo. Not that I do that often, but when I do, I like having the option.
Love it. Okay, perfect. I knew that one was gonna be a quick answer from you.
Yeah, I just it's just like a no. Well, my last longer question is tell me a time when you made an unexpected amount of money. And this could be positive or negative, like a time where you thought you were going to make a lot of money and then made not very much, or a time where you thought you weren't going to make very much or anything and then you made a lot.
Okay. I don't have anything super strong that came to mind besides, and like I just don't know if this is something that other people would relate to. But when like your parents are like, we really want you to do this chore, and you're like, no, I don't want to do that. like you couldn't pay me to do that. But they're like, what if we did? And then you're like, well, actually,
Actually, you
I
could pay
changed my
me.
mind. It was one of those things where it was like, for every blank, we'll give you blank amount of dollars, right? So it was
Oh,
like, for every like hay bale that you help us stack, we'll give you 50 cents. Or like
wow.
for every like yard rail that you paint with this like crib stop, which oh my gosh, wow, the wildest paint. It's like a stain, but it's also a paint. It smells so potent. Horses don't like to have it on their, like they don't like to chew on it, and they usually like to chew on wood. And
Oh,
it's
that
like
makes
one of those
sense.
things
Yeah.
where it'll get on your hand, and you'll be like, why have I have a large birthmark shaped brown stain for like weeks.
Mm.
Ridiculous. Anyways, so they'd be like, for every rail that you paint, you'll get $1. Which at the
Wow.
time seems like
A
you'd be
lot of
making a lot
money,
of money.
but no.
But then, you spend what, like 2 hours and you've only finished maybe 15 yard rails? Like,
Yeah.
$15?
It's not that much money.
Like, that's not that much money. So that's the only thing that really came to mind was my parents honestly being kind of savvy business people and selling it in a way that made it sound like
Like
I
a
was
lot
gonna
of
get a lot
money.
of money, but not actually having it come
Well,
out that way.
I think I've mentioned this to you before, and maybe I mentioned it on the podcast, but my parents definitely used to do the same thing of like, we will give you $5 to deep clean the refrigerator. And I was like, yeah,
$5?
$5.
Holy.
Oh my gosh, we will give you $20 to clean the whole house.
Nice.
And then I would clean the whole house because when you're little, and like, granted, I probably did a very medium job because I was young.
Yeah.
Um, I was like, $20, that's so much money.
Yeah.
And I think it had a lot more buying power, like,
Right.
10, 15 years ago,
Yeah.
when I was little. But I, what comes to mind where I got an unexpected amount of money, my Uncle Bob.
Okay.
My Uncle Bob is an interesting fellow. We mentioned him before, and I will share a couple more stories because he does some stuff. Um, he used to give all of the grandchildren, because he's my great uncle technically, so he's two generations above, $100 for Christmas, which is
Oh,
exciting. And everyone's
cool.
like, yeah. He's like, but that stops when you become 18.
Okay.
Hard stop. He's very
Yeah.
into saving money. He is the most businessy businessman that doesn't want to spend a single cent more than he has to get the best return on his wow, on his investment, that he can, which good for him. But one thing that he slipped to me one year, he's like, okay, because he loves food, he loves a free meal. If you help your grandmother, making food, I will pay you for that. We do not want to lose these family recipes. We
Okay.
want to have some like matriarch of the family that can come up. And so he didn't tell me that until after I had already helped grandma because I was going to help her regardless.
Yeah.
I always help my grandma cook and whatever. Um, but he paid me $100 for helping her with like Christmas dinner, which was
Wow.
amazing.
That's so
So
nice.
that was pleasant.
Nice.
Um, Speaking of my Uncle Bob, he's got a lot of funny stories. He will
Yeah.
do do the most to save a penny. He will indeed. So one of the things that I feel like we've heard people do before is, instead of paying for fruit by weight, you will like pick off the grapes and, throw out the stem and then just weigh your grapes. So you're just, spending the money on the grapes. Some people do that with other produce items as well. I don't know, like if you like cut off parts of stems of bananas, you can probably save. Bananas are super cheap. It's beyond the point. Don't worry. My Uncle Bob took that to an extreme. He bought one of those rotisserie chickens from the store, and those are by weight as well. He took it home. He ate it. He saved all of the bones that he did not consume and brought them back to the store and asked for a refund for the weight of the bones.
Which is so funny.
It's just so silly. Like,
Oh,
how?
I just love the
How?
argument that happened in his mind. He was like, I am paying for something to be consumed. I am not consuming this. I should not pay.
Yeah.
And the fact that he followed through, and it's just amazing to me. It's the commitment. Okay, I have one more on my how much money would you need to save slash get for list, and that is how much money would you need to save for you to share a room with me, as in like splitting the rent, but it's like dorm style. So
Okay.
it's I don't know. You can choose if it's my room or if it's your room, but how much money would you need to save per month for us to like live together, live together?
How long?
Uh, I don't know.
Because again, for a year, I could do most things for a year.
Okay. Well, we can say for a year.
Okay. Um, in Seattle, if I was saving like, if I was paying half of the rent that we do, like if I was doing Nebraska rent, if I was
Yeah.
saving like $400,
Yeah.
I'd probably do it.
Okay. I'm moving in. We can rent out my room.
I just like expensive to live in Seattle,
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean,
I
it's
don't know. You
hard.
also have to consider who I am as a person and how I live.
I know. You definitely are messier than I am.
Yeah.
But as long as I think you are good about boundaries, like you would like
Yeah.
allow me to be like, this is the place where you stop.
Yeah.
Especially if it's for a year. I didn't hate dorm style living. My one thing is like I will never voluntarily move into a situation that I am sharing a bedroom, but yeah, shared a bedroom with the my study abroad friends for three
Oh yeah.
months
Yeah.
very recently,
There you go.
and it was completely pleasant and
Nice.
fine. I think it's really important that there's a communal space that I can escape to.
Yeah.
Like there needs to be other spaces. If it's only a bedroom with just us, bro.
Hey, what's
Yeah,
up?
yeah.
That's funny. Okay, nice.
Like 400, maybe 500.
500. Okay.
$500 saved.
Yeah. So you'd pay 500 additional dollars to have your own space if we were. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. That makes
Four or
sense.
five.
Yeah. Honestly, I think it would be less for me just because I feel like you're not home very
Yeah,
often.
that's true.
So like while there would definitely be like the space that is your space, I don't think I would feel like I was sharing even just like the air in that room as much
Yeah.
because you just wouldn't be in there as often as I would be in there. Yeah, so I think maybe like 300.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
we're living room people.
We are
Like some
living room
people
people.
are bedroom people.
Yeah.
We're living room people.
Totally, totally.
Yeah.
That was one of those things that I always wanted to ask the people who were moving into this house, and then no one really knew what I meant. And I was
Yeah.
like, sorry, if you don't know what I mean, I don't know if I want to live. Just kidding.
I just
No, but still, it's just like one of those things that we have a good understanding of what that looks
Yeah.
like.
I like being in communal spaces and like we don't always have to talk or whatever, but just like being in a space that's not my room all the time is
I
wonderful.
think it's good. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Whereas other people, I think like their room is their little haven, like their little like
Right.
chunk of space. Yeah, maybe closer to 400. I feel like 500 is a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah.
Fun. I
I
don't
would
know.
live with you.
I
I
also
feel like
just
it
don't
wouldn't
have
be
any
so
like
bad.
weird habits
Yeah.
that I feel like would annoy you, and you don't have
Stuffing
any.
in the middle of the night.
I don't do that though. That's
Yeah.
the thing. Well, and like I don't know, we're not super off from each other sleep schedule wise.
Yeah. You
Where
get up early.
I do get up early, but I usually like I don't know. I had a very opposite sleep schedule from my freshman year roommate,
Mm.
where like she would be awake until like 2 a.m. every
Yeah.
night, and then I would be up at like I don't know 7:30 or 8.
Yeah.
And so that was super flipped, where it was one of those things where like she would want to be watching stuff on her phone or watching
Yeah.
TV, and I'd be
And
like, I'm going to bed.
but the issue is you have with light.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. I do have issues
So
with
I
that.
can be quiet.
Yeah.
But okay.
I also think that would be solved by like having a communal space too.
True.
You know,
True, true,
like
true.
she could be spending the communal space. But anyways, I think that we have close enough sleep schedules that that wouldn't be an issue.
I mean, we already live in the same house.
So
It's
true.
the same room.
Literally, I'll just like come over. It's fine. Don't worry about it. We can
Oh,
rent out my room to someone else.
but that's story is that we can be bought and bribed.
Yeah, we care about money. Sometimes too much, but not in a way where we're becoming Scrooges. You
Yeah.
know, we definitely still spend money on things and on other people. We just choose to save a buck where we can
Yeah.
because, we out here, we're not making loads of money. We haven't sold our souls to corporate America yet.
Not quite.
Yeah. And so I don't know. I think in a lot of ways we're willing to spend the money where it's important,
Yeah.
like, to live with friends,
To be in a
to
new
see
city.
to see people that we want to see, go places we want to go, etc., etc. But if we can save money on nachos, like, come
You
on.
should.
We just get the nachos. So,
But yeah, I feel like that's kind of bringing our episode to a close. We definitely are excited to start in the new year. We're hoping for wealth and riches and good
manifesting.
fortune.
Yes.
Um, but unless you have anything else to say, make sure to follow us on Instagram.
Love. We also have our episodes posted every Wednesday on Spotify and on YouTube. So you should check us out. Make sure to give us a 5-star review, hit subscribe, do all the goodness. And, tell us in the question below, what's your New Year's resolution?
Yeah.
Do you want to listen more to your favorite podcast hosts?
Do
Do
you
you
want
want
to
to
make more money?
send us money? No, that's not. Wait a second.
But if you do, we can
We can arrange
we can
that.
arrange that.
We can arrange that. Figure it out.
But thank you so much for watching this episode of
Arguably speaking.
Bye.
Bye.